Hey, I'm Nathan from Pax8 Academy, Executive Coach, working in the APAC region. Today we've got a couple of very special guests joining us. Do you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name's Jake. I'm the Service Manager at GCIT, and my colleague?
I'm Blair, Ops Manager at GCIT.
Cool. So for those not familiar, do you want to fill us in a bit around what GCIT does?
Yeah, we're an MSP, big focus on security, huge focus on automation, and kind of learn out loud stuff on our website, our knowledge base. You might have seen we've got a lot of things with automating and managing Office 365 security at scale.
And you guys have like flexible work. You work remotely a lot, right? And you have 4-day work week. How important is it to have a culture when you have people in and out and not in the office?
Yeah, there's definitely a challenge there, working remotely and building those relationships with people when you're not in the office to talk with them and go out for coffee. So you sort of have to look at it from another viewpoint, those regular calls, checking in with the team. And obviously different people like to do it differently. Some people are more into just sending text messages on Teams. Some people like the voice call. Some people like to get on video. So I think it's just finding what works for each person and just trying to play to their strengths to make them feel comfortable. And then, we implemented the 4-day work week. How long's it been? It's been probably a year and a half now.
Yeah, probably a year and a half. Yeah.
So there was definitely challenges around that because we're a small team, so staggering those days to make sure there's always service desk availability, and sometimes there's outages and things go wrong, so you've got to get the whole team in. But I think that's really good for culture as well, trying to lead the forefront in MSPs in the 4-day work and showing that even if you are a small team, you can manage it and you can make it work.
Yeah, the 4 days been really good, and work from home was a big challenge for us as well. Like there's such a big difference between 2 days or 3 days work from home to 100% work from home, because all of those things that do happen with culture, all those little chats that people have when they're in the office together, you don't get it with work from home. Like it's so easy just to become in your own isolated space. So you've got to force those things. They just don't happen automatically when people are just by themselves at home. So Jake's been really good with that kind of stuff. Like he's got a standing calendar appointment for everyone on the team where he'll call and just spend 10 minutes, not talking about a ticket or not talking about something specific, but just having that chat and building those connections, because otherwise they don't happen. And when they don't happen, you don't have strong trust in the team. So that's been really good. And the 4-day as well, man, like you guys were really helpful with that, because we changed, and it forced us to change, going from a system where a technician owns a ticket to a system where a dispatcher owns a ticket. And when the technician does their scheduled work on that ticket for the day, they hand it off, they mark themselves done, and they hand it back to the dispatcher. So when that person goes away and they're on their rest day for the next day, that ticket stays with the dispatcher. It doesn't get lost and there's no action on that ticket for a day and we lose a day. It immediately goes to somebody else, the next resource. And I don't think we would have done the 4-day week anywhere near as effectively if we didn't change our service desk around that with the Pax8 model.
Yeah, right. And part of that, right, as well, right, is having that efficiency, but also reducing that and being productive while giving people more downtime still, but also reducing that risk of depending on a single point to manage or do everything, from an engineer to engineer, being able to hand it over and take things out, or you guys being able to go away or take leave or be on holiday. You're building resiliency in your company because you're not dependent on individuals, you're dependent on a process that you can change and tweak for what you're seeing with the results.
Correct.
That's right. And there's a lot of benefits that have come from it, even as far as leaving good notes. Because you know that you're going to pass that ticket off and someone's going to have to pick it up, and then the same is going to come back to you. You're going to have to take that work on from another ticket, and those detailed notes, internal or on the main ticket, really help being able to sort of pass them back and forth, and sort of increases that collaboration and shared knowledge amongst the team as well.
How hard has it been to get those disciplines in with, because you probably tried in the past as well, right? And, even getting awareness of the disciplines to start with what you need to do. Where do you think your journey's been on that?
Yeah, I think the benefits have been really strong just because of what they're getting out of it. We're getting the 4-day work week, it's increasing collaboration. People want to get on board on that. And so they know that by investing into these systems that we're putting in place, they're getting a lot of benefit out of it, they're getting more knowledge out of it, and getting those extra days off here and there as well. So I think we've had really good buy-in. We've got a really good team as well. We've built that trust and relationship with them, and I think that's really important when you're rolling these things out and making changes, is just getting to know people and building that trust with them as well.
Yeah, something that's been really helpful from the Pax8 and what you said earlier was bang on about this, was that when we were rolling it out, we had to explain the why to people. We had to show them why it was important to leave good notes on tickets, why, and for selfish reasons too, like it's important to leave good notes because you'll also want them to leave good notes. Like it will help you solve a ticket. It's going to save a phone call to call someone up and say, hey, they might not be available, who knows, but you're leaving the notes, you're cutting that part of the work out, and it's, that's a great step.
Yeah, absolutely. And often what happens is we have a process that we need and we come at it from a management point of view, and it's, I need it so I can report on the metrics or the finances or, improve customer satisfaction, whatever it is that you need to do. We talk about it as what we need or what the client needs, and it doesn't relate back to why should I fundamentally change the way that I'm behaving and working and have worked for the last 5-10 years in some instances. So like you said, sometimes it's about the why and the purpose, and that's good for you to know and be aware of so you know what you're working towards, but also what's in it for them, what are the tangible benefits of why they would buy in. And I think you guys have done really well with that in the last, since we've been working together, but particularly in the last few months. Timesheet entries is an example. Something that a lot of MSPs struggle with, and you guys put in the process, you talked about it, you talked about why it was important, and absolutely nailed it. Do you want to talk through that a little bit?
I'll just touch on that and say how much of a benefit it was for you for showing us a different way to look at it. It wasn't, like you said, this is the benefit to the company, but it's like, well, what's the benefit to a level 2 technician? What's the benefit to the CEO? What's the benefit to the project manager? It's taking that different perspective and showing each person at different levels the benefits that they're going to gain from it, and not just focusing on what the company or what we're going to gain from it, but giving them something like, this is what's going to help you because you'll see the documentation on the ticket and you'll be able to follow it, or this will reduce less escalations for our senior technicians. Just having that different viewpoint, different people are going to have different reasons why they're going to do it, and being able to sort of look at that whole picture instead of just focusing in on one thing.
Yeah, and the time entry journey has been really good for us, like very interesting and a little bit surprising as well, because we started down that track because we knew that we needed to hire another person, but we were kind of frustrated. We couldn't bear it out in the data that we had. Like, we're trying to work out what's a gauge that we can build in Bright Gauge that will tell us and justify to us that we can spend the dollars on a new technician. And we couldn't do it. Like, you can't quantify it by tickets because tickets are very variable. Can't quantify it by tech hours because, again, that can change on the nature of the ticket or the nature of that week or the job or whatever. We found the only way we could do it is by tracking everything, essentially, like doing every part of everyone's day, not to a minute micromanagement level, but so long as everyone's accounting for at least 10-minute blocks in their day and putting that information in, we get so much value, way more than we thought. Like, we know it's justified, we need to hire a new person, but we also know, okay, we're spending this much time on some admin tasks. We can outsource that, or we can automate that, or these are opportunities to save some money and save some time down the track. And that wasn't why we put the time entries in, but it's absolutely what we're using it for now. And we're seeing, the value far beyond, we just need to hire a new technician. That's across the whole business. So we actually love that journey, and we had some pushback initially because we're going from a system where we're not tracking all the time. We weren't even tracking 50%. It's like you bill for the time that the techs are working on tickets. They'll put that time in, but they're not going to put the time in. They're doing documentation for that customer, or the time for XYZ task for that customer. And what we saw is when we put it in, like, we saw utilization go up by about 100%, because that was already happening, but now it's recorded. But we also saw billable go up by 15%, which is huge. Like that's 15% additional that we're billing against agreements or billing direct to customers outside of agreements. That's just money that was just left on the table previously because we didn't have that time culture and we didn't have that system of everything getting in there. And that was like, we saw that over 12 weeks from June to September, we rolled it out, and then immediately 15% bump in those things, which is huge. That paid for that entire time investment in that project straight away.
And it's great to watch that in the gauge week by week. It's slowly creeping up. It's like, the systems are working, what we're doing is working. So.
The gauge that just steadily climbs, especially for that utilization time, was amazing, because we didn't get buy-in from everyone initially. Like, what would you say, 50%?
Yeah.
Probably about that initially, but like you said, like praise the ones that are doing it, call it out every week. Hey, you're doing a great job. Thanks for getting your time in. And then praise in public as well. The gauges are all public. Jake's putting them up on the TV in the room. People can see them. And the guys who aren't doing it just started doing it.
Yeah, didn't want to be left behind. You end up being the last person on the gauge that's red and hasn't made it. So it's like, oh, well, you don't want to be that guy. So
So like I said before, it wasn't hard to do once we knew what to do, and easier than we thought to do, but it's really like knowing the best ways to implement these kind of things. And it kind of is like a psychology thing, I guess. Absolutely. Like, explaining the why in like, not the best word to use, but in a selfish way, in a way that matters to the person. Yes, exactly. Why, from a technician's point of view, why should I spend an extra 20% of time putting this stuff in? Like, that's a big time sink. But if I can see the value, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because it makes sense.
And it's really great that you're starting on that journey, because you're really just starting to get the start of the insights that you can get from that. So you talked about more billable time going in against your agreements. Now I can understand agreement profitability, and we can identify how do we reduce our labour costs, or our labour effort on these specific agreements, or do we need to reprice or recontract, or do we need to change our approach with how we're engaging with certain clients? Are we inefficient? Do we need to do projects to bring them up to spec? Are they behind our security baselines? Things like that can start coming through as well.
And focusing on automations as well. Now we've got that time, and with TSI accurately logged, you can see, oh wow, the workstation run-ups for this customer are taking way longer than the rest. Great, let's hone in on the IMI deployments for that one customer and try to knock that time in half. And that's given us that data to sort of know where to focus our time on.
So TSI, how you categorizing the tickets for people outside of a specific PSA, and then you're talking about using EmiBot to identify repeatable work that you're doing that can get automated, right?
That's right.
Yeah, we're rolling out a lot of image. Like every machine that comes through our system is imaged with, and that gives us a general deployment for not specific to a customer. And then we have more specific as you drill down. The larger customers have more deployments in there, and it means that we can consistently deploy the same system, not via an image method, but via a standard modern workplace, kind of install these programs, license it this way, based on that particular user and what groups they might be a member of. And it's quite a cool system.
So much more efficient, much less risky as well, because laptop rollouts in the past, the new devices, we missed one button, or we didn't configure one thing, and all of a sudden everything.
Customers don't like that.
No.
They'll call you up like if you miss it, and which is fair. Like that,
they should.
They should hold us accountable for that, because if you miss putting a shortcut in and they tell their staff, like it's in their process, this shortcut's going to be on the desktop and it's not there, that's our failing, because we've taken their onboarding procedure, we've tried to internalize it, and you can only do it so many ways with a tech before they'll miss it. So every 10 onboardings, you might miss that shortcut, for example. You won't miss it if it's in an onboarding automation that rolls out every time. It'll just be there every single time. So I'm sure that's not new to anyone in the industry, but it's just such a good lesson to see in action. We spend the time automating something, and that just pays dividends all the way down the track.
So you talked about growing the capabilities of your techs, and the consistency of your business. Do you want to talk through how that journey's been for you guys as managers and leaders of the business as well.
I think you're probably
Jake's got a
best one to
really
start,
interesting story there. I think. Yeah.
Oh, like my journey?
Yeah, your journey.
where
Talk
I've gotten
to us about your journey. Yeah.
Well, I'm relatively new to the industry. I've been at GCIT for a bit over 2 years now, and this was my first job in IT. So I was a rifleman in the infantry, I was a dog walker, a personal trainer, a fencing contractor. I had quite a few jobs. Always had a passion for IT. And I'm in my mid-30s now, and it's never too late to start and sort of follow your passions. So I started as the service coordinator, and now I'm the service manager at GCIT. And it's obviously a short time there's a lot to learn in the industry, and it's constantly changing all the time. Shout out to Blair, our operations manager. He's been my biggest mentor. He's always there to answer all my questions and teach me anything I need to know.
Thank you.
And we've obviously done a lot of coaching with the Pack State Academy. Like, you've been amazing, Nathan. We had David Jackson as well. James Davies has come in for a few calls, and just really absorbing all that knowledge. And did a course with you, and you said, read these books. So I went and read those books and tried to learn all that knowledge and then implement it into my role. And it's been a great journey, and I'm grateful for sort of everybody that I've had around me to share their knowledge with me, and the company to sort of back me in my role and give me the resources that I need. And being able to go through this whole process and implement these new systems for the team as well. It's very satisfying, making other people's jobs more efficient, their lives, I don't know, easier would maybe not be the right word, but or better. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, actually, to be fair, I think their lives have been made easier. Before, the phone rings and they'd be the ones who pick it up, as opposed to a dispatcher. When we did go live with the Pack State Academy system, we saw 20% improvement. So 20% additional tickets with the same team, and effectively, we didn't increase stress levels, so effectively the same stress levels. And so I think a lot of it does come down to that, but also a huge amount to you. And I think a lot of it is an internal drive. Like, how many books would you say you've read in the last 2 years?
I don't know, like 100.
100 books, that's probably not an exaggeration, knowing Jake. So,
how many of them are picture books though?
A few.
Because I read a lot of fiction books.
Well, we both got toddlers, and read a few of those.
But you pick up so much things from those books. I really love the Phoenix Project. That's such a good one. Where it treats IT operations as a factory, like that factory line. It's all repeatable. It all has to flow through the system in one way. Take that back to the life of a ticket. That Visio diagram that we get, where a ticket can only go one direction. Like, wherever it is now, you know exactly where it's been to get to that point, solely based on where it is now in that document. Love stuff like that. It's really good.
And the internal departments, communication, what happens when it breaks down, and how important it is to keep those avenues open, and especially with remote work as well.
Absolutely.
You really have to stay on top of that and make sure everybody's on the same page every week and everybody's talking to each other.
Especially with the 4-day.
Especially
with the 4-day when someone's on a rest day. If we weren't all speaking the same language and dealing with things the exact same way under a certain common framework, it wouldn't work. We wouldn't be able to do that. So someone would go and leave, you just lose their ticket.
So it is really important when you've got that remote workforce and you're offering that flexibility, and you're focused on the culture, is that there does need to be something that you're driving back into that leads to that consistency, so that no one's getting left behind or no one's left to work in a silo as well, because working remote can get isolating as well if you're doing it a lot. So
that's so important.
Making sure you're all there for each other through those processes. And
and there is the unfortunate reality that some people can slip through the cracks, and some people we found may not be suitable for remote work, or the best personality type to use remote work or to take advantage of remote work. There's been learnings there as well, and the framework has been great to, might be a bad way to frame it, but there's kind of nowhere to hide in a system that's documented and everyone knows where everything flows and how everything should move. if you're not performing, it's quite apparent to the system, which is also good for the 4-day. Like, we're a small team, and it is unfortunate to say, but we can't carry, and it's not fair to the other team members to have to carry someone who may not be up to spec. So it's been a good lesson there as well.
Yeah, in a couple of years, you've grown significantly, from not ever working in IT to now managing a team and, getting all the great results that you've got, and that a lot of businesses struggle to get, that have established managers that have been doing it for 5-10 years.
Yep.
What advice would you give to someone who is on that particular journey, either maybe not just starting out, but someone who has been given the opportunity to grow into a role?
Just be a sponge. Just absorb everything. Come in, don't expect that you know anything. Take the advice of those people that have been in the industry for longer. Know that advice is solid, and just absorb it. Trust in the process, trust in yourself, have confidence, ask for help when you need it, and you'll get there.
Be humble, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Read books.
Be humble.
Yeah,
read heaps of books. Listen to lots of podcasts.
Constantly looking out on things. Yeah, great.
What about from your perspective, Blair, of elevating or growing leadership within your company? Anything you
I think
pass on?
Like Jake touched on it before, but the trust, I think that's so important. Like, you need to have autonomy. People need to build their self-confidence in the role, and the only way you can do that is by kicking goals, really. Like, by doing things, setting out where you want them to go, but allowing them to kind of find that path on their own as well, within a safe kind of area. I think that's really important, because you won't build the confidence if someone's holding your hand all the way, because as soon as that person's not there, what are you going to do? It's like, you need to kind of walk that path on your own and go out and learn outside of that 8-hour workday. Which sucks to say, because I love to turn off after 5. Like at 5:01, I'm the first out the door. Like, everyone will tell you that. But you kind of do need to be doing things outside of that. You can't pick up everything from 8 to 5. Podcasts are a great one. I do that at the gym, and audio books and stuff like that. But also, resources like Reddit and you guys, of course, to a massive degree. Really good.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone should invest in their own growth and their learning and opportunities. So, whether that's going and doing certifications or experimenting, if you're tech, back in the days when I was a tech, can you create a lab? Can you play around with configurations, or can you do that with, developer instances, or what's, management frameworks that I could look into, or, should I have a look into things like lean manufacturing and see what I can approach from that, and apply to my role, and what can I do that's different to what I'm doing today that's going to help provide value for either myself or for other people around me. And the more and more you do that stuff and you read about it and you learn how to apply it, it's the application where you're going to get the most benefits. So
that was a great knowledge bomb you guys dropped, actually. The lean, the 7 methods of waste, 7 types of waste.
We were looking into that after we had that last call.
We love that. That approach to IT, it seems like those two systems don't make sense, but they do, of course. Like, it's the same thing, the same as IT is a factory. Essentially, every job is, when you break it down to its core components and working out how those things flow and how they connect to each other. That's great. And like you said, with labs, where you can break something safely, that's when you learn. Like, when you've broken something, I've got to fix this before anyone else finds out. And you can do it safely in a lab where it's not going to affect anything in production. Amazing. Crucial, I think. You need that.
That consistency that you're starting to achieve, and you're reducing that risk, becoming more efficient, you're getting your numbers, you're looking at your data. How important is it to not just have that data, but verify it? So, concept I really love is the watermelon effect, where everything looks green on the outside, you cut it open, it's red on the inside. Have you, because you've both been doing this for a while, inspecting and looking and verifying the information, what are you guys doing there, and what have you found?
Yeah, so true. And I've never heard that before, the watermelon effect, but it is true. Like, we see that all the time. We're actually in the middle of something at the moment, a bit of a project, to verify that customers are getting what we're selling to them, and on an endpoint level as well. So we're deploying Defender with policies, configuration policies through Intune, a whole bunch of different systems where we're just trusting, or previously were trusting, that when we deploy it in the portal and everything looks okay, we kind of tick that box and say, yep, that's good. Recently, we've been doing a deep dive into that, and we found a couple of machines where things aren't green and they're reported to be healthy and okay. So Elliot and Ryan from our office, they're doing a security and automation stack, done an amazing job doing all of those checks in an automated fashion per machine, pushing that data into BrightGauge, and then when we go and review that data, we're finding that there's about 5% of machines that are showing as healthy but are actually unprotected, and we're at risk there because we're selling this system to customers and it looks okay on the surface, the watermelon, but when we do dig into those individual machines, we find that there is huge risk there. So I would say, yeah, absolutely, verify always. Go in and check it on a machine level and just make sure that those systems are actually in place. Even better if you can automate it like we have.
It's amazing, and it takes a lot to look at your business and know that you can't get it perfect, and to have there's a certain level of courage to go, yep, something's not working and we need to fix it, as opposed to what happens with the watermelon where you go, all right, well, I'll just filter that out in my BrightGauge so that I don't have to see it. So well done on that. And you can apply that not just to your technology, but to your processes or your team and how they're working and what the outcomes are. Are you hitting your budgets on projects? Are you achieving what you were expected to achieve with changes that you're introducing to the way people work and operate, as an examples as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the path of least resistance is a terrible teacher, and
That's true.
Time and time again, the obstacle is the way. It's always those finding the dirt, having those tough conversations, bringing it to the forefront and dealing with it, but then that's where you learn, that's where you get better. And if you're not doing those things, then you'll just stay the same and complacency sets in.
Yeah.
Well, they're the things that would separate a top performing MSP, a great business, from just your average business that didn't quite launch. I think those kind of things, getting that from 95% to 99% or 100%, they're the kind of businesses that will succeed and perform really well because they've ticked all those boxes. Yeah, and it's not hard to do. I mean, that's why a lot of them don't. A lot of companies don't. I'm not saying we do, but we're really pushing that. And over time, that's where, that's the goal, really, getting to that point where everything's covered through automation. Yeah, and we're not far.
There's so many links, and those links are the weaknesses, between where they connect and they join. A process breaks down, moving between finance and moving between sales, as an example. Yes. Those are the things to hone in, and like you said, the path of least resistance is to just accept that, and accept mediocrity in your business often becomes something because too busy reacting to things, and we're creating the things that we need to react to as a result, which stops us from achieving what we need to achieve. So completely agree there, but I also think once you're working from that angle of identifying the things that you need to break, you need to make doing the right thing the path of least resistance from there. So how can I make it easy after we've bridged and fixed that gap to make it so that it's so easy and it's less steps required, doing the right thing is easy. So you talked about automation, perfect example, or a consistent process, or a clear expectation in itself can be so powerful sometimes, being explicit with what's expected and asking what's expected of you as well as leaders and managers.
Well,
So
I guess
much
that
power in that.
depends on the role, right? I think you always want someone in there who's willing to break stuff and test the system. Like I think Jake does a really good job of that, challenging what is there, and you might get an answer from a technician that says, yep, that's okay. Jake not being very technical, I think it takes a lot of courage to go, well, no, that's not okay. That, we can't tolerate that. That's not a level of service that we want to put our name to. So I think that's part of it, but absolutely for a technician, for L3 all the way down, it does need to be the path of least resistance. It needs to be structured and process driven so that they're doing the same ticket the same way for customer A as all the customers down the road.
Anything that you want to share or give as a takeaway based off what we talked about today? Is there anything you want to share with other MSPs out there, other businesses that are maybe going through this journey or looking to go through a similar journey to what you guys have done over the last few years of really moving the business forward?
I think for us, it took us a little while to realise that the Pax8 Academy system isn't just for the service desk. Like rolling it out to all parts of our business. It's kind of like if you're a car manufacturer and you're just starting, and you could get Toyota to come in and go, hey, this is how you should lay out your system. This is where you should invest in your team. These are the kind of certifications that you need to work towards, or this is how you deal with XYZ. It's like that external advice, but not just for the service desk. Like you can bring that maturity into finance, like the sales process, everything there. That took us a long time to work out, but yeah, it's starting to pay off. It's really cool.
So yeah, thanks guys for coming in and sharing your journey. It's been really, really great working with you and seeing the progress that you have been making. Really looking forward to seeing what we can do over the next several years as well. So anything that you guys want to say, finish up?
Yeah, like I'm quite proud of the team for adopting the model. It's not hard. Oh, sorry, it's not easy. It is hard to do. Yeah, really happy with everyone jumping in, especially Jake. Nailed it. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, we appreciate all the help that Pax8 Academy's had. Trust in the process, trust in your team, lead by example, have integrity, and you can make great things happen.
Yeah, you specifically have been very, very helpful. Like all the coaches that we've had, DJ's been amazing, so good, and you as well. Like, yeah, we love the system. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And really look forward to seeing the success that you have out there in Gold Coast and beyond as well. So
yeah,
Awesome.
love it.
good. Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.